Hello, everybody. Welcome to Frank's Corner. Hope we're all doing well today. All right, so let's talk. I guess one of the more fascinating things I've seen is the attempted impeachment of Obama by the Donald Trump administration. I'm not even sure how that's actually possible since he's not president, but they're definitely having an impeachment hearing. Isn't that kind of odd? I don't really find it odd, though. This is what I find. Trump is so jealous of Obama, he's just trying to get him one way or the other. Because Trump was impeached twice his first go round. And, of course, if the Democrats take a hold again, he's going to get impeached a few more times to this go round. But I did find that interesting there, up there saying they found this, down found that. The problem with this administration is they lie so much. You can't really believe what they're saying. I mean, if you're a Republican, I think you believe what they're saying, but that doesn't mean that they're right. I hear a lot of stuff coming out the Republicans' mouth, and none of it's actually true. Again, I'm pretty active at posting on a lot of the news outlets, especially when I see some crazy stuff. And it's so funny. You're going after Obama, who, if I'm correct, graduated Harvard magna cum laude. Trump, who barely got out of college, and only because his daddy bought them a wing, he built a building for the campus itself. And I did read a quote today. One of his college professors said he was the worst student he ever had. So that doesn't shock me. And then, of course, Trump sued everybody so they couldn't make his academic records public. So that should tell you a lot. Trump's not really smart at all. But, that's just another thing altogether. What are we going to do? I'm not a Trump fan. I'll say it again. I'm not a Trump fan. I don't believe in Trump. I think Trump's got issues. I think he always will have issues. But, I just thought I'd bring that up because they had that broadcasting live yesterday, and I was listening to it in awe. Just all the things the Republicans are saying. And what is about this Hedgemouth fellow that called all the generals in to have this meeting? And you can't find one general that actually supported his view out of all 800, I think, that they could brought in. Most of them were pissed off because that he could have just sent that in a memo. If he's going to push the mega agenda, they could have just got it in a memo. So this is all it was. Let's push the mega agenda a little bit more. And so most of them just considered it a waste of their time. And of course, they're protecting the country, so calling all of them in to come meet with you is really just wasting their time. I don't care what your military record is. You might have got out of the National Guard as a major, but right now you're a loser and a drunk. That's a fact. So that's not changing much. Ain't going to change my opinion at all. You're just wasting people's money, tax dollars, etc., etc., etc. Go on. And then the Ted Cruz. I was just reading this one. He said, "Leave pedophiles alone." Oh my goodness. Leave pedophiles alone. You got that part? Leave pedophiles alone. He actually said this. I mean, he can't, I'm sorry, he just can't shock me anymore. It's just the fact that he said it that, blows my mind. Leave pedophiles alone. Okay. And now Ted Cruz and everybody's pointing the fingers. Oh, the Democrats shut down the government. No, they didn't. You shut down the government. You didn't want to give up, those tax cuts to the Medicaid and program that help these elderly and poor. I see a lot of people commenting, "Oh, the illegals get free health care." Man, you guys couldn't lie no more. I just don't understand it. Y'all constantly out there lying. And it's kind of funny. I post on all y'all stuff when y'all do that, and I tell you to present the truth. And you know what happens? You never present the truth. You actually don't even comment, I guess, because I say it so well. It baffles you. Or maybe it's because I sit here and point out that you supported a convicted felon, pedophile, con man, adulteress, liar, the guy who said my daughter is fuckable. I'm sorry, I still ain't got past that one. You know, this is Donald Trump. I don't again see where the Christians follow him, but it's okay. So now we got a man who is, Donald Trump admitted to going backstage at his beauty pageants and walking in because he owned the pageant, seeing young girls and underage girls undressing. I mean, and that's documented too. I'm sorry, that's documented by the Howard Stern show where he did an interview. He called himself a sexual predator, and I cannot remember who that interview was done by. I'm going to have to go back and research that one. But all this stuff is you can go back, it's archived, so you can go back and look at it. Not that it's going to help mega Republicans because they're so damn blind that if Jesus Christ came down and slapped their ass in the face, they would ignore it. Because, as far as they're concerned, Trump is God. And that's the, I guess, odd thing about that. Trump is God. Trump's not God to me, but okay. And, anybody that sits there and tries to praise Trump, man, I definitely want to know where your morals are. I mean, what is exactly your moral values? I'm confused. Because, again, all of that stuff I said about Trump is true. None of it's a lie. It can be verified. It's documented. So what makes this man so great to you? I mean, I just don't get it. I posted something today that talked about Trump's wives, the ones he's had, where he's met them. Of course, he met Ivanka at Epstein's Island, so she was probably underage when he met her. I just don't get it. But I mean, I do get at least Trump's attack on everybody that don't agree with him because, he can't have that. He's a narcissist. He's got to be right because, he's Mr. Genius. He's so much Mr. Genius, his dad had to buy the university he went to a building to get him to pass. That's how much of a genius he is. Look it up. I always said if you don't know his grandfather, it's kind of funny. Look him up because he was a restaurant owner and a brothel owner, which were illegal at the time. I think Ivanka herself came over here on the Epstein visa, so she's an illegal. She came in illegally. His other wife was in here illegally too, and his wife before that was here illegally. So, Trump's never been one to do things legally when it comes to people he's with. He just has it. So, I thought I'd just point it out. Again, I think his dad was from Germany, his mom was from Scotland. So he's, neither one of his folks were born here at all. Trump was born here. That's birthright citizenship to me. But, I just thought I'd touch bases with some of the stuff I've been reading that I found kind of odd. The Ted Cruz and leave the pedophiles alone stuff really did. I mean, I'm not going to say it didn't shock me because I think he's a pedophile too, but it did kind of take me back for a second that he would even say it. I guess sometimes people don't really think about what they're saying, how they're saying it, when they're saying it, or anything else. They just get out there and say it. But needless to say, it's a interesting time we live in. There's some other kid that's now, I guess, trying to fill Charlie Kirk's shoes. Another young kid that's family's got money. Flying around on a private jet, et cetera, et cetera. And it seems like the Charlie Kirk people aren't too happy about it, so they're attacking him. So even there's issues in their own ranks. Now you have Republicans that are slowly but surely waking up to Trump's bullshit. Oh, and what do you get? Them delaying swearing in the new Democratic people so that they didn't lose the vote on the Epstein files. I'm gonna call him Johnson did that. I mean, come on, think about that. That they were so worried that they wouldn't swear them in until after they put that to rest. So, although all these Republican MAGA stuff want to point at the Democrats, look, I'm not really stupid. I bet there's Democrats and Republicans on that Charlie Epstein list. I guarantee it. But that's not got anything to do with anything. I don't think Biden put it out because there was Democrats on it. And since he didn't want to really expose the Democrats, he wasn't going to expose the Republicans. That sounds more logical. Now, Donald Trump, who's made it a part of his campaign, we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll put out the Epstein files and stuff. Well, no, he don't want to put them out neither because his name's all in it, and he don't want that exposed. I mean, what more can you say? Life is what it is. But I just thought we'd address a few issues. I've been kind of busy again. I've been kind of busy with work. I got to pay bills like everybody else. It's not like my little YouTube channel is making me a lot of money. It's not. It makes me $0. So I kind of have to do this around my own time. But think about all the stuff that's going on. Sit down and really think about it. Oh, I did get the rest of that story about the kid that was expelled from Texas State. It was not. It was, yes, he got expelled for reenacting Charlie Kirk's death. But what happened is they didn't record what led up to that, which is a bunch of white folks calling him the N-word and insulting black people and everything else. So they kind of stood right in line with the Charlie Kirk mentality. So again, if these people think they're Christians, they're not Christians. They're just lying to themselves. But anyway, so that young man just went ahead and told the whole story. And of course, after they did this to me, of course, I mocked him falling to the ground. I understand. It's within his right to do that. Right? It's in his right. He can do it. Y'all calling him the N-word and stuff, yeah, shame on you, buddy. You shouldn't do that. But hey, freedom of speech. So I'm not going to take it away from one and give it to another. It's just not going to work. Everybody's got that freedom of speech. But if you're going to try to chastise somebody for doing something, why don't you go ahead and take responsibility for what you did first? That's plain and simple. You ain't got no balls. Nobody has no balls these days. That's the scary part. Nobody has no balls. I mean, we have become a ballless society, I believe. People don't want to get up and tell the truth. And this country itself, this is no longer the great USA. China keeps getting a better hold on other countries now because the United States and Donald Trump have backed off of doing anything. And in the end, every country will be in line with China, and it'll all be blamed on Trump because he's the one that did it. It doesn't really matter how much you want to argue with that. It ain't going to change the facts. And then to go into the UN and just blatantly tell them that they're all stupid and he's the God and, he understands this and he's the one that does this. That's a narcissistic asshat as I've ever seen a narcissistic asshat. But I'm not going to stick around here too long. I still got to go make a living. But I thought I'd do a real quick little podcast here. Just talk about the things I found interested. I have a whole lot of other stuff. I made a lot of notes, but I just don't have time to go through it all. And I'll just keep on reading and researching and listening to what people are saying, and most of the time in fascination and awe when people start making comments about stuff. Most of them just don't have a clue. That's just it. Don't have a clue. But if you're going to make a comment, at least make a comment and back it up with some research. That's probably the best advice I can give everybody. But, I appreciate everybody coming out. Thanks for coming to Frank's Corner. We'll see you again. Peace out now.